As I coach early career professionals, one question that comes up often is, what was the single most important piece of advice I got for career success? And I'm going to share that advice with you. I got it when I was in my mid 30s. I hope you're under 30 so you can benefit as much or more than I did in my career. So stay tuned, don't go anywhere. Hi, welcome to Careerscast, and today we're going to talk about what I consider the single most important piece of advice for career success. I got this advice in the year 2000. I was 34 years old, and I hope you can benefit from it as much as I did. Before going there, just let me qualify. I don't consider myself a model of success to be followed. I believe I am successful because I'm happy with my trajectory, and that's what matters. My career trajectory involves being an entrepreneur, moving from Brazil, where I was born, to Silicon Valley. I became a VP of strategy for a public company in the US. I went back to my entrepreneurial roots. I started a few companies. I taught some classes and workshops at Stanford and UCLA. My last corporate job was as a senior director for a technology team working with consumer product operations at Google. So that's my career. And I think a lot of that was only possible because of this single piece of advice almost 26 years ago. The story is I was part of this small company that I helped to build almost from scratch. And we are being successful. We are growing very fast. At the time in 2000, we had about 150 employees. And I was the head of engineering and product just because I was one of the first. I was hiring engineers and product managers. But otherwise, I didn't have a lot of corporate management experience. And then we start hiring executives from with big titles in big companies from in Silicon Valley. And so as we hire those seasoned executives, they start questioning my competence to become the technology leader, the product leader for a company that was growing very fast. And of course, I wanted to be a CTO of the company. So I start trying to figure out what I needed to learn right before I became the CTO. So at that time, I took an action that was very unlike me. I sent a cold email to the CTOs of the largest companies in Silicon Valley. The email said, I am an engineer. I have the opportunity of becoming the CTO of this small company, and I have no idea what a CTO is supposed to do. Can you explain it to me? And against all odds, Avie Tevanian, he was the CTO of Apple at the time, he replied to my email and offered to talk to me, to meet me and talk to me. Along my career, I was helped by several mentors, right? And people who believed in me and spent the time to give me advice. I am doing the same thing, right? And I'm sure Avi learned a lot from Steve Jobs. He learned a lot from other people at Apple. And he was just grateful and he decided to spend time with me as a way to pay back to the community. So a little bit about Avi. Avi was the CTO of Apple. He was the CTO of Steve Jobs. There was a point in the 90s where both of them were kicked out of Apple. They went on to start a new company called Next Computing. And then Apple was not doing very well. So Apple bought Next Computing and brought Steve and Avi back to save the company. In 2000, Steve Jobs was building what was the beginnings of the iPhone, and Avi was working on that and also leading the development of what became the macOS of today. Those are very technically and politically turbulent times at Apple. I'm sure Avi was super busy, but he made the time to meet me. And we spent about an hour talking. He was very generous. He, he, he answered all my questions, but there was such a gap right between the CTO of Apple and an engineer in a small company that I had a big challenge just understanding what he was telling me. And when I left the meeting, I had two notes written in my notebook. The first one said, being a CTO has nothing to do with technical questions. It is about leading people and leading organizations. And the second note said, Before you can lead anyone else, you need to help. You need to learn how to lead yourself, right? And as I said, I was not prepared even to understand what that meant, but I had those notes in my notebook, and I spent several years after this meeting studying leadership and developing leadership skills and practicing them in my context. Leadership is the ability to create a vision, right? Create a future state in your mind, and then figure out what the steps are for you to get there. And it's also the ability to influence other people so that they share that vision with you and they can come together to collaborate towards a common goal, right? So that's what leadership is. And within leadership, right, how do you do that? You need to learn a lot of techniques. Some of those are management, some of that are strategic thinking, some of that is personal brand. You need to learn how to establish a reputation, trust, collaboration. You need to learn how to have strategic thinking. So those are the skills you need to acquire, right, to become an organizational leader. And one thing that I learned is that leadership skills, of course, are necessary if you're going to lead an organization, but it's useful to anyone in any context, right? Leadership skills help you in your family, help you to organize a barbecue, help you to do well in your team, even if you're not an organizational leader. Leadership are the skills that help you to be part of a team, be a productive part of a team, and help the team to achieve its goals, right? So that, to me, is a broader definition of what leadership is. How do you prepare yourself to be a leader? You are a leader already, but you can formalize that intuition of being a leader by learning those skills and by studying those skills. I learn from books. You can learn here on YouTube, right? My channel, Careerscast, has a lot of content that's related to leadership skills. So today you can start preparing for the future before you become organizational leader. You can start learning about leadership, and I can guarantee you that any investment you put in learning leadership is going to be investment well made, right? Because the right time to learn about leadership is before you're called to lead an organization and in a career, right? If you're working for companies and that's your career, then your growth, right, both in terms of increasing levels of responsibility as well as increasing levels of financial compensation, are going to be tied to you taking leadership positions, right, in larger and larger organizations. So that's the advice, and I didn't share anything specific in this video, but I hope this discussion inspires you to go learn about leadership the same way that meeting with Avie in almost 26 years ago inspired me to learn leadership, and that knowledge was extremely useful once I had the opportunity to take leadership positions. I was a CTO of that company called Cyclades. When the company was acquired, I became the VP of strategy for the company who acquired us, and then eventually I became a senior director at Google. And all those steps were only possible because before I had learned and practiced leadership skills in the context I was in. So I hope that's useful to you. Please subscribe and share, and I see you in the next episode of Careerscast.